Okay. Hey, everybody. Uh, Facebook decided to give me a little trouble today. Um, gonna share this with the page real quick so everybody can see. And there we go. Now we're gonna do this. So, as you can see, I'm going to be doing Johnny Storm here, the Human Torch. Make sure everything's in view here. There we go. Yeah, I decided to go this route with the profile because um, Torch is kind of a photo ham here, so I'm I've decided to make it a little more fun and a little photogenic like that, and go that route so we can make that happen. And it just he always comes across to me like he would be um, just like making the pose, for like the GQ type covers and all that crap instead of very egotistical rather than um, doing the action shot poses that most of the characters would be caught in because of the fact that that's when they're exposed in that manner. And I'm also doing the modern uh, beard fad um, goat piece here. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I'm making it happen. And this one will be very easy and should be short. Hopefully, it'll be a short video because um, this one particularly is very easy to do, and a lot of people don't like it when you do the whole run-on thing with him. But with the hair instead of it being flame and whatnot, and me doing it where he's more Johnny underneath rather than classic Torch. A lot of people are still arguing about that. Even till today, they don't like the modern version, but that's okay. I wanted something that would suit this particular set in a little bit higher end, and I like this one, so that's what we're going with. Um, I hope you guys dig it and it resonates with you, but if not, that's okay too. Sometimes. But I just wanted to give the new artist out there that I have a lot of students following me and stuff, and um, some of you may or may not know that I do a lot of marketing and stuff like that as well. But I do a lot of consulting, and that's part of what my company does. And I wanted to let you guys know, if you're facing something out there and you want to get the project going, but you're afraid that you don't have the skill or the knowledge or whatever it may be, understand you can do it. And I'm not just trying to be affirmative and preachy and whatnot. I'm telling you, if you keep saying to yourself, I know a lot of artists are like, well, I'm not good enough for that, and I don't have that skill, and I specifically artist in this case, I hear that all day long. It's like, how do you get up the nerve to get in front of the camera and do this? Well, for one, I'm not really in front of the camera. All you're seeing is my hand. But there's a lot of people that are like, well, I can't do that, and I can't ever uh, get online and do this and that and the other. Well, why can't you? I mean, what's stopping you from that? That's the biggest thing I have to ask. If you can't, then who's going to do it for you? Are you going to have your mom video you or something? Um, did you teach your cat to hold your cell phone? I mean, how are you going to get in there and get it done if you're not doing it yourself? And it's one of those things where you have a fear for putting your stuff out there and you think you're going to get criticized and whatnot. Let me tell you first and foremost, okay? If you put your stuff on social media in public view, you are guaranteed to get ripped. It is going to happen. It happens to me all the time. Okay? If you're going to put yourself out in the public view where everybody thinks that they're an expert because they're a fan and not a critical editor or talent of some sort, but given the modern equivalent to a self-made fan becoming a safe point expert. Let's put it that way. It's a safe point expert, as they call themselves, because of the fact that they think that it's safe for them to bash you that way because they have anonymity or whatever is going on behind their social media. And they think they have the right to do that because it's constitutional right in the U.S. for them to say whatever they think because of freedom of speech. However, it's going to happen, and you just have to say, screw you. You have to go in and look at it from that perspective and say, this is going to happen. People are going to judge me. People are going to come on and say, I'm an artist too, and you know what I recommend? I suggest that you do this. Well, do you have a show to say that you're credible for me to listen to that's doing better than what I'm doing? I have people all the time. Hey, man, I saw your post, and I'd like to recommend that you do this. Just tell people that I told you. And I'm like, bite me. You know what I mean? I'm just going to call it seriously like it is right now. Okay? I hear that kind of crap all the time. And I love for people to come on and tell me, hey, man, why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? And, if you do this, just tell everybody that I, told you how to do it. Well, one, I'm not going to give you credit and props for that. And two, I don't need your business. You know what I mean? I don't need you stepping your nose off in my stuff where it doesn't belong. If you want to say, hey, Brad, your stuff looks cool and give me a nice compliment, or, if you think my stuff is, could be better, I appreciate that. But don't take the liberty of sticking your nose in another artist's business or another creator's business and saying that you know better than they do. I've had many, many artists do that, and I could name them and call them out right now, and it would really, really chap them if I did that, but I won't, because of the fact that I'm just not, basically I'm not the same type of jerk that they are for sticking their nose in it. But, if somebody wants to give me a tip or something, hey, man, would you like to draw this? Or, hey, would you, that looks great, and, but I like to do it this way. That's fine. I will converse with anybody. But if you're out there trying to put out your comic book and people are messing with you, tell them flat out, bite me. And I give you permission to do that wholeheartedly. And, even my students, I'll tell them, the little kids that I teach comics to, and whatnot, and that follow me for this. And, moms and dads, don't get mad at me, please, but I'm going to tell you flat out. If somebody says they don't like your stuff, you look at them with the straightest face and say, that's okay. And turn around and walk away. Don't tie up with that and give them that energy, because it's only as strong in the energy that you put into it because of the fact that they're jealous of you, or they think they're better than you are and they're arrogant idiots. All right. And I'll tell you that hands down. If somebody wants to give me a tip, I say, well, I've got a suggestion if you'd like to hear it, kind of thing. I don't go tell people, hey, man, you should do it. You should really try it this way, because I know perspective better than you do. And I'm going to send you a bikini model picture in your messages because I want you to do it my way. You should try it. No, I shouldn't. It's not my way, And I hear a lot of people do that all the time to people. And I keep telling students that ask me about it at least 3 times a day. I get asked about it. And I wanted to tell you guys flat out, if that's going on, tell them to just leave it. Just walk away. Tell them to leave you alone. You should take criticism. And it's good that you take criticism. But something funny about that? I'm not asking for criticism here. I didn't ask you to come on and judge my artwork. I didn't ask you to come on and criticize me. When you post your artwork out there, make sure that you don't ask for that criticism and open yourself up to it. If you say critique's welcome, it's going to happen. Every trolling idiot is going to make a bookmark out of you because of the fact that they have an open platform to gripe about your stuff. And they think that that's their right on social media to step up and say something just because they can. And the sad thing is, it doesn't mean that they should. So what I'm telling you right now is, if you want to put your art out there and you want to show it off to people, I totally give you permission to do that. If you're afraid of it and you need that validation, show it to me, send it to me, and I'll tell you flat out, stick it out there, see what sticks. Throw it out there, see what sticks with the fans, and see what your followers want, your friends and family and followers, and whatever else is out there for you. You know, if they don't like it, that's their problem, not yours. But do your thing. You know what I mean? I hear that crap all the time. And, you know, dealing with this stuff on credibility, you know, of being out there, if you can draw and your stuff is out there, guess what? No one is going to know it's out there and follow you until you start posting it. I've been doing this for 170 days now, starting tomorrow. It's 169 days for me right now. Okay? I'm telling you, that's crazy. If you're putting artwork out there and you're doing your thing and you're perfecting every single day, awesome. More power to you. But I'm going to tell you flat out, don't let anybody ever tell you that it's not worth it. Don't let anybody ever tell you that it's not worth it to happen. Because if they do, they're lying to you, because one of two things. Either they're egotistical and they don't know any better, which takes away the whole validity of what they're saying in the first place. Or two, they're egotistical and they're jealous of you because you're doing something that they're afraid to do. So figure out which it is, figure out what it is, and know it, and move on, okay? I get criticized about my artwork all the time, and you know what? I don't care what you think. If you hate my stuff, don't follow me. That's okay. I care about the people that do have an interest in it and want to see more of it, that I need to keep providing content for every single day. That's who I care about, and that's who you should care about too. If you get one of these knuckleheads coming off and saying, you know, your stuff sucks, man, well, guess what? What have you drawn out? Draw me. What is your style? You know, what is your style? What is your stuff? What credentials do you have to critique me? When did I come up over to your page or your profile and ask you, hey, man, come criticize my stuff. Tell me what you don't like. When did I ever say that? And ask them. Thank you for your opinion, but I didn't ask for it. So, you know, step up to yourself, because I see so many people actually turn away projects because they think that they're not good enough to handle it. And I'm going to tell you flat out, like I always say, if you're not an artist if you're not drawing every day. So if you're not drawing every day, guess what? You're not. Plain and simple, man. Just, I hate that stuff. And, you know, the more I get back into publicly marketing and promoting and pushing stuff, and not soliciting other people's stuff, of course, but because I'm not trying to, you know, sell stuff, because the stuff that I promote will sell itself. That's what it's designed for. But that's not what this is about. What I'm saying is, when you get out there and want to promote your artwork and you want to put your stuff out there and you want to put yourself on the shopping block, understand, some idiot is going to come along with an axe because you put your head down there. So think about it. You know, you're going to get lopped at. It's going to happen. People are going to say nasty stuff. And it's just par for course, because they're, like I said, they're either ill-informed and think they know better than what they actually do, or they are jealous of you and want to beat you down because they aren't good enough or brave enough to do it themselves. Understand that. Whether it's writing, whether it's coloring, whether it's penciling, whatever your artwork field is, understand where that's coming from and step into it. Because if you don't, somebody else will. All right? But you should never back down because someone else says you can't do something. You know, I was told by someone very important in my life. Okay? I'm not going to rat out who that was. But I was told by someone very important in my life when I was very young that there was a time that this person said, right in front of me, said, oh wow, I'm so glad he's not going to be an artist because I thought he was going to have to survive on cereal. I was worried about him surviving on cereal and bologna sandwiches for the rest of his life. Because at one point I wanted to join the military. And that person pointed that out and thought it was hilarious. And I've had to do a lot of soul searching years later. I was told that when I was 15. And I had to do a lot of soul searching to figure that out, that I was okay with that. And that it was that person's mistake for saying that, not mine for wanting to be an artist. That person almost talked me out of being an artist because of that, because it was their idea that I go into the military. And I had to be very cautious and careful of that. And I've made amends, with that person since then. But up until that point, though, there was a long, long time that I felt that person didn't care for me. And it was because of that remark. And they didn't realize that their joke went over like a hot rock. As the saying goes, the joke went over like a hot rock and it just hit the ground where it was. That's one of those things. You have to deal with criticism as an artist. You have to deal with criticism to become great. And like, Zig Ziglar used to say, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to be able to start to be great. You know what I mean? So that's a big thing. You have to be able to step up to the bar and do whatever comes. You know what I mean? You have to produce and you have to get out there. And that's one of those things that I'm constantly telling people, well, I want to be an artist. How do I get exposure, and how do I become the artist that I want to be? Well, what have you drawn lately? Well, I did some pages about 3 months ago, but it's not my latest stuff. Well, then you're not an artist if you haven't drawn lately. You got to be willing to put out that artwork and put that stuff out there to be ridiculed and critiqued and whatnot. And, even till this day, even though I know that I won't get the chances of getting a job with Marvel or DC is like next to nil because of their platform positions. But I still send stuff to editors and artists and professionals that, I'm in contact with all the time. And the reason I do is because of the fact that I want to make sure that I stay in that radar and make sure that I get critiques from professionals that I respect. And a lot of people are like, well, why would you say that? You just said don't go by what people say. No. I'm not saying you shouldn't have professionals critique your work. Okay? I'm saying that you shouldn't have every, Joe Blow that comes along on Facebook or whatever platform it is blow smoke at you. You shouldn't allow for that. That's a problem. And, there's a big difference there. And there's a lot of people out there that really, really want to tear you down. So keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Keep that in mind big time, because it will bite you in the butt. If you keep those type of people in your life where they can see you and whatnot, they will come down on you like a ton of bricks. So understand that everything you do is open for suggestion. Everything you do is open for ridicule. Everything you do is open for, critique. People are going to come at you. That's why they have what's called the tabloid rule in Hollywood. All those celebrities, the first thing that their managers and agents tell them to do is ignore and do not acknowledge anything that comes through that tabloid crap, because they're going to make up stories. They make up news to give stories to sell. And, they may catch you like bending over in your latest swimwear, but, the catch-22 is you were really bending over to pick up your soda, but yet they catch you broadside and they say, well, Jessica so-and-so has gained 20 pounds and is, overeating or getting big and whatever. But yet the truth of the matter is that may be from like 2 years before when that lady had her last kid. that they're saying that she's gained 20 pounds and she may be a size 2 right now. You know what I mean? It's that kind of crap that we have to deal with. It's the same thing. It's news fodder. You know, you have to look at it. If you're going to put yourself out there and you're going to do this kind of life, you got to step up and say, you know, I'm okay with being ripped on. Come get me, because they're gonna. But don't let anybody ever tell you, and I mean literally ever tell you that you're not worthy of being whatever you want to be in life, because life's too short not to be, and go for it. Because if you're not doing it, someone else is. That's just a given, okay? If you're not doing it, someone else is, and they will be successful at it because you're not doing it. So you're not filling that gap and that void where they need it. So think about that, and think about where it's coming from. And then, you know, think about who said that. Who is it that's criticizing you? Who is it that's ripping on you? And why? And then tell them to blow it out their shorts. You know, that's a technical term. Sorry. But it is what it is. And now I got the hiccups. Great. But that's okay. But yeah, it's just go at it. You know what I mean? Go at it full force. And if someone comes up at you and they steal your stuff, which I've had done 1,000 times, if they come up and they tell you you're no good, which I've done 1,000 times, I've had that happen to me daily. It happens all the time. It's like, man, I'm not really one to do your style. I wish you'd do something else. Well, that's okay. But you know what? That's all right. Everybody else does. So you don't like it? Yeah, that's okay. I don't care. That's your problem, not mine. But keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Keep that in mind. Keep it moving. And don't let anybody boss you around and manipulate what you want to do in your life because of the fact that you are afraid of what they're going to say or do. You can't do it. It'll eat you alive. I have people steal crap from me all the time. I have people steal artwork from me and say it's theirs. I have people steal techniques from me and say it's theirs. I have people steal credits from stuff that I did and I can prove, but yet they take credit all the time and say it's theirs. And it's just one of those things, you know, if you put yourself out there and you put out techniques and you put out good content and you put out good art, people are going to come at it. You know, I just had to stop a guy with a cease and desist letter just yesterday because he took one of my cards and put it on a T-shirt and was going to sell it at the Oklahoma City Con here for Wizard at the end of the month. And I was like, no, you're not. He's like, well, let me use it. No, because you didn't ask me. He was selling them at a farmer's market this last weekend, and my attorney just told him that, you know, you got to take that down and you can't sell those anymore, and you got to pay 40% of whatever you earned back to Mr. Linder as a settlement. And I was like, you know, that's hey, that's cool, whatever. But I gave that money. That cease and desist letter went out today, and I was given a cash check. Well, I turned around and donated that to charity. I did not put it as earnings because I don't want to earn money off of prints from other people's merchandise. I destroyed it, and I gave the money to charity. I don't do that. Luckily, it was one of my characters and not someone else's. But I don't make money off of merchandise like that from, you know, making prints and stuff like that. I just don't do that. I would prefer to sell the original piece. But it happens all the time. And you have to stand your own ground, and you have to be the one to step up and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is who I'm going to be, and this is what I'm about. And then get yourself a good attorney and say, if you're going to steal my stuff, I'm going to crack down on you like a ton of bricks. That helps too. But, you know, come out, do your work, promote it, sell it, do what you want to do with it. But I'm telling you, if you want to make it in this industry, in any industry for that matter, you got to get out there and take the first step. And that's it. You got to get started. And you got to get out there and don't let anybody tell you different. And if they have a problem with it, send them to me. Tell them, I told you have permission to do that. I give you permission to step up and take your first step. And if they tell you you're not worthy, then they're not worthy of following you. So do it and move on. But don't let anybody ride you like that. I see people do it all the time. I had one lady cry. She was just bawling in tears and called me up and said, I can't do your class anymore because of this and blah, blah, blah. My husband says I suck at this and da-da-da-da. And I was like, really? And what does he do to give you that critique? Oh, well, he doesn't do anything. He's a construction worker. Well, oh, great. Okay, that's cool. Well, does he do any, project drafting or, anything like that? No. He's just a construction worker. Well, guess what? What does he have in your field to give you that type of critique and tell you no not to do that? What levers does he have to do that? Well, nothing. He doesn't have any credentials like that. Well, then why are you listening to him? And sadly enough, she's gone as extreme because he wouldn't back off. She's gone as extreme enough to divorce him, and she's given me the okay to tell you guys that. But yeah, she decided to divorce him and move on because he wouldn't stop hounding her. I was just like, okay. For about a week, she did that, and she said, I've had enough. I was like, wow. But I'm not saying go to that extreme with your family and friends that do that, but I am saying don't tolerate it. Zero tolerance for negativity against your craft, especially if they can't do what you can do and have the credentials to do better or teach you better. So take that with my permission and my blessing and go for it, and come out and bust their chops. If they say that it sucks, then they have no idea what they're talking about. You keep working at doing what you do and push it forward. Talk to professional editors about this stuff. If you need somebody to be professional, as far as giving you feedback and critiquing, ask other artists that you envy and that you work with and that you respect the opinion of, and ask them for tips to correct stuff that you think you need work on. Ask them for feedback. Ask editors in the professional field that you're in for comics or cartooning or whatever you want to do, and study those editors and ask them, email them, send them stuff, send them samples. Ask them, can you give me feedback on this? I'm not asking for a job right now. I just want some feedback to get better, to get a job. And they will give you instant feedback. It may take a little bit, but understand, they got books to put out and they got stuff to put out, so give them a little time. You know what I mean? I'm not straight-edged all the time. I do stuff that's freehand, and I know I should use tools for it, but it's, these are sketch cards for a reason. But, if you want professional critique and you want to get started and you want to get your feedback going on, contact an editor. And I don't mean an independent contracted editor, for an independent comic book company. I'm talking years down the line, like Tom DeFalco and, those great guys. And I'm not saying go hound Tom. The dude, he'll want to send me a Facebook shot through the dark here. Next thing I know, I'll get an emoji of a weapon. He'll be wanting to kill me because I sent people to him, and I'm not saying that. What I'm saying here is go see, people that you see in your favorite comic books. Show them your art. Email them, ask them, say, can I send you some stuff? Can I show you some samples? And move forward with that kind of thing, and get them on board to show what's going on, because I am all for handling that kind of thing up front real quick, because you can't fix it if you don't know what's broken, but yet in some regard you have to keep pushing even after they chew you out, because it's going to happen too. If you're going to send to editors, understand that they're going to rip you a new one. If you ask for critique, they're going to give you they're going to drill, you're going to look like Swiss cheese when you're done, because you're going to get so many bullets drilled into you, it's nuts. They're going to be like, okay, you want a critique? Here we go. And it's going to be like you were hit by a mobster in the 1940s with a machine gun, with a Tommy gun. It's going to be bad. But, go for it. It is what it is. So get out there and post that stuff and show it and share it and put it up, and don't back down. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you flat out, don't back down. So with that one said, this is going to be Johnny Storm. the Human Torch. And like I said, I wanted to do it this way because I want him to be flaming with the way they show him these days, which is in human form. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a little classic version of this. I'm going to do something a little different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here. And then I'm going to do something really, really cool and unexpected. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the classic Torch lines. Not something common anymore. But I find this very fascinating that it's going to happen this way. I'm going to see how it looks. I'm experimenting with this one. I have never seen this happen before with the torch lines. But I'm mixing the old with the new, so go figure. We're going to see how it works. I just like the idea of doing this because it's something different. A lot of people are going to freak out. What'd you do to Johnny? I think that looks cool. Back in the old days, many moons ago, before many of the fans started watching, and before the days of YouTube, the Human Torch was actually bald, silhouetted, and made of red lines, like it was black lines. He was colored one solid red, and then made with black lines, just like I'm doing right here with these gradations. This is going to have a classic look to it. It's going to be funny. A lot of people catch this, and it'll be interesting to see how they respond. I'm going to do this real quick because of the fact that I want to see an homage to the original Torch, as well as respect to the new. A lot of the old dogs will come up and start talking to me about this, and I'm going to laugh because it's going to be awesome. I'm going to love hearing about it. Because if you do search on Johnny back from the 80s, the mid-80s, about 87, 88, right around in there, on up into probably 92, 93, that's when he started making transitions, and it made it really cool to watch this guy and see how an artist would draw him. With Reborn, if you've ever read that, the Fantastic Four Reborn, Jim Lee did a huge change up on Johnny and took him from the original Torch that we all knew and just made that form so intense and aggressive in comparison to what had become before. And I tell you, it was just phenomenal to watch. It was a great read. He also made Sue really, really. I'm not one to say that comic books are, comic book women are hot, because I don't think, I don't look at it like that. But it made it a really high quality and a high density sex appeal to the overall book. And I don't mean it, like I said, I don't mean it like watching cartoons and thinking they're hot kind of thing. What I'm saying is the art was just so immaculate and impressive for the first two issues. And then a couple other artists took over afterward, and it got, but that first issue was just so phenomenal. Rob Liefeld was at a peak on that point as well with what he did for Captain America. Even though a lot of people pick on him for the anatomy of his style, I'm still a fan of Rob's. And yes, it's stylized, but it's still very, very cool with the way that Rob did that as well. Will Spatasio on Iron Man was just outstanding for a lot of that stuff. He made Iron Man have almost a liquid style armor in the effect of the way he did it. And he made Tony Stark really pop in that regard. And I just thought that was great. A lot of those old classic characters got a really cool twist on them. The Avengers, Rob was on the Avengers for that. One of the best Thors that I think I've seen in years, and even till this day, still one of my favorite Thors. One of my favorite Hawkeyes, one of my favorite swordsmen. I'm not so much in the way Rob draws women, but I really, really, really loved his Thor and Hulk stuff because he draws characters really bulky and big. So, to see that happen, I was just like, yeah, man, this is the way it's going to happen. And then they took those actual shots from the comics and put them in the Avengers film. Same stuff. They put them at that scale, and it was just crazy cool. But you guys can check out a lot of that and see it. But if you look at, I think the most modern artist to do this in the best rendition, other than Scotty Young, which I mentioned yesterday, I think that it would have to be Mike Wieringo before he passed away. He drew the Fantastic Four in a classic animated cartoony style, and I used to love to read those, and I have them all, and it's just phenomenal stuff because he made it look and feel like they stepped out of a cartoon, and that's the way you wanted to read that book. That character and family set is all about that. But yeah, I would definitely check him out. I'm going to add in another one here because I didn't want to overdo it, but I want to add in another one here real quick on that. But yeah, it was great. So check them out and see what's going on. I'm going to call this one done for now. I appreciate it with you guys checking me out, and I hope everybody's digging these. This is, like I said, this is going to be the Fantastic Four. There's 2 more left for this Galactus series. I'm going to do Sue Storm and Ben Grimm, The Thing, and the Invisible Woman over the next couple of days and knock that out. And then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with this Galactus piece because I want it to go right in the middle and I want it to be really intense. So hope you guys dig in what I'm doing. Give me some feedback on it, some compliments and comments or whatever. And we'll go from there. But until then, see you guys tomorrow. Thanks very much.